Hello, everybody. I'm here today. We're going to talk about holiday planning. Now, these are tips pretty much for everybody, but um, I'd like to be specific for autism families. Now, there's not a lot of, detailed autism family tips in here, but this is pretty much across the board. But the reason why I feel like it's a good topic is because of what's happening in our country right now. So with the government shutdown, with maybe even if you're not a family affected by the lack of SNAP benefits, our children, our autism children have Medicaid. So at some point, it's very possible that the shutdown could affect autism families that have received Medicaid disability insurance. In case anybody's wondering, there's Medicaid for people as a subsidy, and then there's Medicaid for our children regardless of your income, for children with autism with special needs. But at some point, it's possible that the government shutdown or whatever's changing in our political climate in our country might shift benefits. Okay? And that's a whole nother topic. But I want to talk specifically about the upcoming holiday because for most families, for many people, uh, the holidays are stressful. And it's stressful because of a lot of times for a lot of reasons. But we want to talk today specifically about some changes, some little tweaks you can make so that it's not so stressful, so much of a burden on your family, your autism family. Okay. So there are three things that I want to talk about. I want to talk about what to do before the holidays, during the holidays, and after the holidays. But I'm going to talk about it in reverse because we want to begin with the end in mind. We want to think about, like, this is the end of October, and we want to think about what we want life to look like in January. Okay, again, there's an election in November, some things, even more changes might happen in January, but we want to set ourselves up for success as an autism family. As we know, there are families who are struggling with whatever they're struggling with, but for autism families, for families that have children with special needs, that struggle may be more intense. Okay? So let's talk about it. All right? So, again, I'm going to talk about it in reverse. So, let's define the after the holiday season. January comes, Thanksgiving is over, Christmas is over, New Year's is over. We're talking about January. I want you to think about mid January and what that looks like. Okay? The week after New Year's, the 10th of January. What does that look like for you? Because what I know is that many people will get to January and they are in recovery mode. Does that sound familiar to you? They're trying to recover from the holidays, like in every way. Okay? They're trying to recover from all the money that they spent in the prior holiday season. They're trying to recover from, whatever bills didn't get paid or whatever. I never did this, but I know that people do it. So that's why I want to talk about it. Okay. They're trying to recover from all the food, you know what I mean? Their diets, right? I ate so much. I got to recover from, the weight that I put up, all the things, right? So if that's your story, that's what I want to talk about. If that's not your story, turn this video off. We're done. Okay. Or you can watch it and then pass it on to someone who you think, no, we all know somebody. We all know people, family members, friends, coworkers who get to January and they are the most depressed, stressed out people. They're tired from the holiday. We want January to look like no debt, full cupboards of food, And we want this to be a non recovery season. Like, we don't have to recover in this period. The bills are paid and we continue lifing. Okay. I want January to come for you and you can still continue life like normal. You can handle issues. You know, if the car needs tires, if the car needs an oil change, if the house needs some attention, if you have to overcome some issues, you know what I mean? An emergency won't destroy you. Okay? Because how many times do you know, maybe it might not be you, but it could be you, that you get to January and you're like, yeah, whatever happens this month, I have to put that off until, February, March, April because I'm in recovery mode. We don't want that. Okay. So that's the first thing after the holidays. So, in order to do that, that means the holidays, in the holiday season, this is number two, because that was number three. But in number two, if you look backwards to the actual holiday season, you think about what's going on. There's a lot going on. Why is Thanksgiving like, 4 weeks before Christmas anyway? Like whose idea was that? Because we've got these high back-to-back holidays. And this is the thing. A lot of people spend a lot of money. You know what I mean? You have these traditions, whether it's, all your kids, grown college students, whatever, coming home for the holidays, or, everybody flocks to, grandma's house, whatever your traditions are. You have these set things that you do in the holiday season. Okay? So let's look at what the holiday season looks like for you, your traditions, what your typical holiday season is, and let's see where we can tweak it a little bit. We can't cancel Christmas. Christmas can't be canceled. We can't decide, we're not having Thanksgiving this year just because it just costs too much. But let's look at how we can change it so that we can make it so that we don't have to go through a recovery season in January, especially for those families that have children with autism. Okay. We want to create a budget and stick to it. I feel like this is really big for people. Um, Over the years, I've met people who like to spend hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars during the holiday season. You might spend $1,000 on food just for Thanksgiving dinner or Christmas dinner because that's what you do, right? I want you to create a budget, okay? And I want you to stick to it. Shopping. Okay. Again, when my kids were little, I was I was so extra. I ain't even gonna lie. I'm gonna put myself. I was extra. My kids would have these lavish birthday parties all throughout their lives. Okay. But when it came to Christmas, my kids were on a $125 budget apiece. That's just what it was. They would have 10 gifts under the tree, but that was their budget. And it's not because, you know, we can't afford it. No, we were doing other things. We were having experiences, decorating the tree. But I was really modest with their gifts under the tree. They were kids, they liked opening presents. But I wasn't buying them $500 Nintendos. Uh, that's not what it was. When you're considering buying gifts for the people in your family, I want you to think about needs versus wants, okay? What do the people in your circle need? And if it's your mom or, your uncle or your dad, ask them what they need. Is there anything that you need this season? Because chances are you're not the only one with struggling in this financial climate, in this political climate, in this lack of SNAP benefits and government changes climate. Okay? Everybody knows that groceries have gone up. What does grandma need? Don't buy her, an expensive whatever, something that she already has. She already has, whatever. Ask her what her needs are and then move accordingly. Maybe the person that you always buy 5 gifts for, maybe they only need 1 gift, and stick to a budget. Okay? I want you to like look even at your children. Okay? Maybe don't buy them 10 toys. Okay? You need pajamas. So that's going to be 1 gift. You need slippers. $10. That's going to be another gift. Things like that. And make it fun so that it's exciting to open. I'm not saying you have to do this every year. I'm saying to be able to stick to a budget and to be able to put yourself in a position afterwards, after Christmas, you might want to make some changes. Okay. Create a food budget. A lot of people will create a menu, the same menu they've been doing, or a menu of what is expected from other people. And it doesn't matter what it costs. You're not thinking about the cost. You go to the store, you buy all the things. Well, menus from 5 years ago to buy those same items now is double or triple what it used to cost. Okay? Create a food cut budget. But most importantly, what I want you to do is I want you to actively and intentionally prioritize your self care. So many people are so stressed out. They're angry, angry people during the holiday season. This is supposed to be the happiest time, the most joyous time of the year. But people are angry. They're worried about their finances. They're stressing about this. They're overwhelmed about that. Not to mention all of the other things going on in the background. So and so has a diagnosis, your car's not, whatever. There are other things going on that you put on hold so that you can deal with the holidays. Let's not be stressed out. Practice self care. And what does that look like? You know what I mean? You're not running the whole time, every day, every week during the whole holiday season. You know what I mean? Um, that even looks like just being able to sit down and take a break and do nothing on one day. You know what? This is my plan. Or on this day for 4 hours, I'm not going to do anything. I'm going to watch my favorite show. I'm going to drink a cup of tea. I'm going to put my feet up. I'm going to take a nap. Okay? Be active and intentional with that. Okay? Which leads us to number 1, before the holidays, which is right now. It's the end of October. It's before the holidays. And I already know people are starting to get anxious or excited. Same thing. Our body doesn't know the difference between good excitement and anxiousness and stress. Okay? Which is why so many people suffer and go have heart attacks and have strokes and high anxiety during the season, usually. Okay? So before the holidays, right now, let's talk about what to do now to put those things that I just mentioned in place. Okay? So as far as your food budget is concerned, change the menu. Change the menu. I know you don't want to hear it. You want to have your turkey and your ham and your green bean casserole and your stuffing and your mashed potatoes and your all of it. Change the menu. A couple years ago, I changed my menu. I didn't have all the traditions. For Thanksgiving, actually, what we've been doing for the last couple years, well, except my husband and I like to go away for Christmas, but we don't go away every year. This year we're not going away. But what I chose to do for my menu is cook for Thanksgiving and go to a restaurant on Christmas Day. Going to a restaurant on Christmas Day for Christmas dinner is cheaper than all the groceries and all the time and all the effort that you're going to make cooking. You do what you want. I'm telling you what works. I'll do all the cooking on Thanksgiving. And in fact, I'm not doing all the cooking on Thanksgiving. My menu has changed. There are 3 things on that plate or 4 things on that plate. We don't have greens and green beans and mashed potatoes and sweet potatoes and ham and turkey and stuffing, cranberries. I don't do that. I stopped doing that years ago. I make a nice Thanksgiving dinner, or I do Thanksgiving dinner. There's like 4 things on the plate. And then I do a dessert or 2. I might do a pound cake and a pie, and that's it. We're not doing cakes and pies and cookies. Change the menu, okay? And shift your traditions. I know it's hard. Shift your traditions. So say for instance, you don't want to change your menu. Maybe you're like, no, this is what we do. You know what I mean? All of what's going on in our country, the least we can do is have a real nice big dinner for Thanksgiving. Okay, great. You don't do all the cooking. You don't do all the buying. You don't put in all the effort. Suggest that you all go over to your sister's house for Thanksgiving and you bring two or three dishes and everybody else brings a dish. We started doing that back in the day when my siblings and I were all married and out of the house, and we would all go to my mom's house for Thanksgiving, and she would do the same cooking that she always did, and then she changed the tradition. She's like, okay, everybody is welcome to my house, but I'm only making this, this, and this. If you want these other foods, somebody's gonna have to bring them. So I have two sisters. I got with my sisters and we said it's not fair for mom to have to cook for all of us and our families too. It's cool. Let's decide what's going to be on the menu and who's going to make what and take it to my mom's house, to mom's house. And we did. And it worked. The tradition, we didn't change the tradition. The tradition was still go to my mom's house and eat all the food. But we made that change so that all the burden wasn't on her. Got it? And then you can make a nice dinner reservation. A nice dinner reservation for Christmas, you have to make it now. Now's the time to make it because if you wait 3 weeks before, they're going to be booked solid. You know why? Because people go to restaurants for Christmas dinner. And this time of year, at Christmas, during the Christmas season, so many restaurants are having Christmas buffets and Christmas, menus. And, you pay, I don't know, $80 a person, depending on where you are, $50 a person. And the menu's already intact. That's what people do. They spend the day opening gifts and having a breakfast at home, visiting family, and then everybody goes to the restaurant. Change your tradition. Everybody gets to dress up in their velvet, little outfit, and one of their new Christmas presents, and you know what I mean. Everybody goes to dinner. If you spend $200 for your family to eat, that's still cheaper than what you would have. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Another thing I want you to do: say no. I'm giving it a second to sink in. Say no. What do I mean? At work, we're doing a white elephant. Everybody buy a gift, $25. I don't want to be involved this year. Uh, the company Christmas party, the neighborhood Christmas party, all the because every time you're invited to a Christmas party, don't you have to bring a gift? A nice bottle of wine or something. Yeah, no, it's no big deal. I'm just changing my traditions this year. We have some other things going on. That's all people need to know. All the things. And it's not a money issue in this regard. It's a time issue. There's only so much time between Thanksgiving and Christmas, which means you need to be done or almost done with your Christmas shopping now to free your time up. Those of you who wait till after Thanksgiving to go Christmas shopping, it's a bad idea. Look at your calendar now and assign events. Plan your self care. Plan whenever you want to be done Christmas shopping. Plan when you're going to wrap those presents. Plan your menu in advance. Plan it. And when you are able to plan these things now, then let's go back to number 2. Then during the holidays, you stayed within your budget. You stayed within your gift budget. you stayed within your food budget. Okay. And then after the holidays, you're not worried about trying to pay off credit card debt because we're not doing that either. Okay. Your cupboards are full and you can still deal with the issues of life. Something happens to your car, it's not a big deal because you didn't max out credit cards and spend all your, you know what I mean? We're not doing that. And I'm not talking to poor families. I'm talking to everybody because it doesn't matter. The people who are making two and $300,000 a year are still living paycheck to paycheck. Okay, so this isn't about those of you with SNAP benefits. This is for everybody, especially if you have a child with autism at home. Because you already know if you're waiting to the last minute to do all the things and you're all stressed out, and then your child has a meltdown because you don't have the strength or the patience. We don't want that. Let's make the holidays enjoyable again. Okay? And we do that by starting now. Because a lot of people will look at the calendar and they go, oh, it's Halloween, it's the end of October, next week is November, and oh, we're so excited but we have time for the holiday. No, now, let me just tell you, I'm about done Christmas shopping. What's today? Today's the 28th. I'm about done. I already started wrapping presents. I have like two or three things, like little stocking stuffer things I have to get, and that's it. I'm done. I usually start shopping in August, but yeah, the reason why I start shopping in August is because my husband's birthday is at the end of August. So, whenever I shop for his birthday in July, I've picked up birthday gifts and Christmas gifts for him. And so I'm in Christmas mode by the time August comes. And the thing is that, this is a side note, I shop for 5 men for Christmas. So we have 4 sons. My husband and I have 4 sons, and they're between the ages of 26 and 32. They're men. They have men feet. They have men bodies. I'm in the men's section. And then my husband, that's 5 men. So whenever I start shopping for his birthday in July, I'm seeing ideas for Christmas already, July and August. So usually I'm done by now anyway. I want you to plan like that. And then your gift budget is done so that you can change over to the food budget and the holiday tree budget. And there are people who, I hope you're not one of these people. There are people who change and buy new ornaments for their Christmas tree every year. Listen, if that's what you do, that's what you've been doing, I'm just saying, make it fit in the budget. Okay? That's all I have. I want to know how you do holidays every year and how you're going to change them this year. Let me know in the comments. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'll talk to you soon.